Sean Fennessey.
I'm Amanda Dobbins.
And this is The Big Picture, a conversation show about action. CR, Chris Ryan is here.
Pew.
Whoa, a Midnight Boy?
Yeah.
Wow. So we're going to talk about some action movies today.
Action, yeah.
Guns? You're pro-gun? Let's just start fresh.
Yeah, good.
It's been a minute since we've all seen each other. Do we have to start with the Second Amendment?
Okay, that's a dodge for CR. CR and I actually spent yesterday together. Amanda.
I know, I saw.
Did you
saw
hear?
it on the Instagram. It was very cute. So I wanted you to take me through the wardrobe process for you.
The wardrobe process?
Yeah. Because the Paddington sweater is new.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was
The Paddington
wondering when you acquired it. Is it Paddington for Gap?
No,
It's
it's
not.
Rowing Blazers.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
And
I gotta be honest, I was a huge supporter of Paddington, but they were getting around with the collabs before Paddington and Peru.
Well, Paddington, obviously very important to me. And I'll tell you, I
Not
told
as
Chris.
important as it is in my household.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know why we'd be competing on who cares about Paddington more.
That seems antithetical to Paddington's ideology.
I
Competing
agree.
over Paddington.
My intention was I wanted to talk to people on the street waiting in line for the Criterion Mobile Closet. CR joined me yesterday at Vidiot's where the Criterion Mobile Closet was. I was wearing a Paddington sweater because I thought I would seem more warm and approachable
Okay.
if I had Paddington on my chest.
And it's not because Criterion is announcing a Paddington edition.
Not to my knowledge. I can
I
neither
would also
confirm nor
accept
deny.
Paddington too.
That would be an interesting step. We did talk about the Red Balloon a little bit, which has a Criterion edition. There is some Paddington energy in the Red Balloon, so it wouldn't be so out of practice. Did you have fun yesterday?
I had a great time.
Yeah. We had a good time.
I was so impressed by people's taste. Young people who had just incredible.
Were you just standing outside the
I was actually
closet,
more of
just
an
being show me, or were you doing exit polling?
He was doing it. I was executive producing.
Yes.
Oh,
I was like
okay.
that person.
That literally is what you were doing.
Yeah.
You were IDing potential folks to talk to. We talked to a lot of really nice, really cool people, all just waiting for physical media. Waiting on Saturday, they were waiting in the rain. We weren't there on Saturday.
Was the exit polling sanctioned? Or were you
We had Criterion's blessing.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
We asked. Yeah.
It was actually pre-polling, which I think is illegal.
It wasn't like Jesse Waters running up to someone and being like, "Why don't you like movies enough?" You
didn't give them any water though, Larry David style. You didn't want to be sent to prison for several weeks. We had a lot of fun. We made a couple of videos. They'll be on the Ringer Movies YouTube channel later this week. Jack Sanders got to go in the Criterion Mobile Closet. He seemed very, very happy. It was fun. Also fun. Movies. We're doing so well. We're doing so well.
Didn't say we're
now.
so back.
We haven't left.
Okay.
We haven't left.
No,
it's been weeks.
So there are two approaches that we could take here.
Okay.
And one is just this is so great. And also two is to be like you, Sean Fennessey, were crying in that chair 2 weeks ago.
What do you mean?
But my movies they're nowhere, and TV's so important, and I love Severance and whatever. And
movies
here
sucked
we are
until Minecraft came along and changed everything, and now TV all the way in the back row.
I just can't live like this.
Well, you have to. Frankly, we're doing great. Sinners down 5% week over week.
Unfucking
It's
5%.
amazing.
Yeah.
So the film is now made well over $100 million. We were talking 6 days ago about the trades, talking about how this film may or may not be profitable, which even at the time seemed absurd. But now we've seen this movie is now in this sort of phenomenological era. It's like Get Out. It's like Inception. It's like Gravity.
It's a sensation.
It's a huge sensation. It's a movie that people have built a huge relationship to. Obviously, a lot of reasons for that. The premium large format movies where tickets cost more money. So if you go to see it in IMAX or Dolby, 70 millimeter, it costs more money to see those movies. So you're going to generate more box office, obviously. But word of mouth is just insane.
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
I've had multiple conversations with people who don't necessarily work within the film industry or media or not terminally online about movie culture. And they're just so Sinners, really, I should go see it? I was like, please go see it. Not just for the benefit of the industry, but you'll love it.
It's just the best way to see it.
And it's undefeated. I have not had a single person come back and be like, that was a waste of $10.
There's also it's a scene, it's a thing, in a real way that we've had from time to time. And I was thinking about this as you were freaking out a few months ago, but also this morning of it's not that movies are back, and it's not that all movies are great, but movies are kind of cool again. There's something happening, and even your Criterion aspect of it. I don't know whether it's just fan culture has moved from specific genres or like franchises to just formats, and it's just like, I guess now we're into movies. And this doesn't obviously apply to everything, but there is an energy around the big name directors, like the big name events, like people are waiting in line, people are like buying the merch, people are
listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
When I came in the studio last Thursday, Jack was bumping the soundtrack in here. I think that's all true. I think one of the reasons why this has happened, which we thought would be a negative, but is in an odd way turning into a positive, is during COVID, theaters were closed. People got out of the habit of going to see movies. People got really interested in streaming, but they also watched a lot of movies during COVID, and they got more interested in movies and movie history. We've heard from hundreds of listeners over the years that they're so more into movies now than they were pre-2020. And then there's also this desire to be back with people having an experience. And so it's not always going to happen. We're going to see a ton of movies this summer that bomb or underperform. It's not foolproof. But when you get something that is familiar but new like this, you can get an energy going, and it feels like, the snowball is really rolling down the hill now. So it's really exciting. And the Coogler thing is great. It's like he is now in the Nolan, Tarantino, Jordan Peele, Greta. Like there's a handful of people who you can sell the movie on their name,
based on their
as
directed
director,
by,
which is so cool. I mean, that's obviously for me personally, like probably my favorite thing in movies, when you have somebody with a really strong vision and then you're kind of like eventizing around that. But it's exciting for him, and it's good for the theaters, and it's in theory good for the kinds of movies that get made.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll learn all the wrong lessons from this. And by we, I mean studios and the same people who were bitching anonymously to the trades about how, not understanding the point of Sinners was going to then also ruin studios forever. And I'm sure that people will look at this and try to corporatize it. But, and there is something about this that the magic of it is a little bit like, oh, wow, like another one-off, like an original thing that this doesn't happen that often, so I want to be a part of it. That is hard to manufacture, but it kind of keeps happening. So that's exciting.
There's an aspect of Barbenheimer that was very similar to this. It's not, we can go back to a time when there were more people who were able to do this. Like, this might seem strange now because of where they stand in the firmament of Hollywood, but like Adam McKay and Judd Apatow had this kind of power where, like, if you put their name on a movie
from the guys who made Superbad.
It was like, oh, I want to know what that is. And I think we just need to keep leaning into that stuff, leaning into empowering people to make those kinds of movies. I don't know. What are any takeaways from you beyond that?
I just want everybody to keep the same energy for Jurassic World Rebirth.
Thank you.
Another cultural event.
Yep.
Another movie about characters we don't often see.
Representation matters for dinosaurs. Absolutely.
What do you think? Is there anything else coming this year that you guys think could have a similar kind of energy? Or is this going to be an increasingly rare phenomenon where we all kind of agree?
I'm nervous to say it out loud. Like, I feel like I should whisper, like, and it's different.
Whisper it.
Like, whisper one battle after another, and that's
this
different
set
because
a crazy
obviously,
high bar.
Well,
a crazy
sure,
high bar, this movie.
But
this movie just straight up does not have black audiences, and black audiences are like, I'm going to see this movie 3 times, and I don't care, and I'll pay $75 a ticket to go see it. Like, One Battle After Another needs a lot of me, a lot of dudes just like me.
Let me tell you, there are a lot of you out in the world.
Yeah, we gotta get activated.
I think you
I'm going, but I'm going as a Tiana Taylor fan. To One Battle After Another.
That is the intersectionality that we're looking for here in movie fandom. I think there could be. Obviously, it's also the same studio. It's the same conceit of like a filmmaker with a strong vision.
It's Leo.
Yep.
It is like we haven't seen the movie. We've only seen some trailers and are like doing some deep reading, but like seems like it has something to say, but also just a lot of action and and sensational filmmaking. So sensational stuff to watch. So I don't know. I'm only going on a feeling.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of franchise.
And I could be wrong.
There's a couple of franchise movies that could have a somewhat similar energy. Like, I do think that Mission Impossible and 28 Years Later, a certain kind of movie fan is very stoked for those movies.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to have this, I mean, there's very few films that have dropped that low a percentage in the last 15 years at the movies. It's very, very
I don't think
unusual.
this is going to happen again.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll get back to something that exciting. The other thing that happened at the box office, which is quite astonishing, is that Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3 in the Star Wars saga, was re-released. was re-released to celebrate its 20th anniversary in theaters, and it made $25 million.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of reasons I think for this. I think for Gen Z and young millennials, Revenge of the Sith is a big movie. And there's a lot of like, this is my youth on screen.
They love them.
I want to celebrate it, and I totally understand that. There are some things I really like about Revenge of the Sith. It's my favorite of the prequels. I still don't think it's a great movie, but there's something like it's kind of like going to your high school reunion, going to see this movie, and like kind of seeing who you are in the face of a thing that you loved when you were 11. And then there's also that communal thing that we're talking about, where people just want to get together and have fun and have a party, and they want to watch Count Dooku get his arms cut off, like
Spoiler.
They want to watch General Grievous get cut down to size.
I think the point you made about the generational thing is really important. I first noticed this when we got a chance to go to Prince Charles Cinema in London, and we saw people lined up around the block for Interstellar, which is apparently like basically a weekly event there. And I was like, oh, it turns out that people like find their own classics and find their own like touchstone films. And Interstellar is to these people what 2001 probably was to my parents' generation or what have you, or Star Wars was to ours. So Revenge of the Sith is a new hope to people who are in their 20s or in their early 30s. And it makes a lot of sense.
It's really interesting. I mean, this is also a movie that is available on Disney Plus in perpetuity.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most purchased DVD Blu-rays of all time. Like everyone has access to this movie. They don't have to pay $25 to go to a movie theater, but they did. I find that so fascinating. Right on the heels of the Ted Sarandos comments where he said that we serve the consumer and the consumer's not interested in going to the movies. Now, obviously, there's a lot of truth to the utter dominance of Netflix and what they've been able to create for viewers, but to frame it against people not wanting to go to the movies is just not true. You just need to give people things that they want. Is it ideal? Like, are you going to be able to recreate Revenge of the Sith every other weekend? No, you're not. But it shows you something about what people do want. So how do you figure out if you're a theater owner, if you're a studio? Hopefully it's not just giving Sean Levy the keys to Star Wars, which I don't think we ever discussed on this podcast.
No. Ryan Gosling.
Oh, and Ryan Gosling, yeah. But then who said no?
Honora.
Yeah.
Mikey Madison.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
She
I couldn't remember her name.
She reportedly declined. Imagine if the character Honora, though, were sent to Tatooine. That would
Get
really be something.
Get the fuck away from me with your starfighter.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Good job.
Any other takeaways from Star Wars being back in theaters?
I saw this in theaters originally.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I saw it with my dad
Okay.
over Christmas break, I want to say. Don't remember anything about it.
What did you think of Natalie Portman's performance in the movie?
Like a very large, is that a crown?
What sort of headpiece?
Yeah, she's got
she's a
Proto
senator?
Leia kind of like braiding up on the sides and stuff.
What is her government designation?
She's not a senator. She's a princess, right?
She's a princess, but she becomes a senator, I think.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah.
you know what? Don't marginalize the
She
women
can have
in
it
Star
all.
Wars,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jar Jar Binks also is a senator to be. Also, Minecraft just very quietly trucking along to $1 billion. It's basically made
That's cool.
$800 million in 3 weeks. That's insane for a Minecraft movie, which I was considering not doing an episode on like 3 weeks ago.
Right.
So,
And then you had an epiphany at the movies.
well,
And you can see a little bit
Something's
of
happening.
a trickle-down effect of the health because the fourth movie had a really decent opening, right? Like the fourth or fifth movies are all doing like 20, 25, one of which we're going to talk about.
let's talk about it. So, we've had 4 action movies released in the last couple of weeks. The biggest, I suppose, of the 4 is The Accountant 2, which opened on Friday.
Still counting.
I wish that was the tagline. There's not a lot of counting. There's not a lot of accounting in this movie, actually, now that I think about it. The Accountant was a 2016 sort of surprise hit from Gavin O'Connor and Ben Affleck as the star, an autistic number cruncher for the mafia who's also a trained assassin and looks like Ben Affleck. Very
in
strange.
Hocus.
Is he in Hocus in the first
He's
film?
not in the first one.
Okay.
That was a great update that they made to bring the accountant into 2025
Yeah,
for some
okay.
truly cringeworthy
You
Hocus.
couldn't wait to get into the style breakdown of The Accountant too.
It really all that you need to know about what Ben Affleck. It was great costuming.
The original film, I think, it did very well at the box office, and then I think took on a real dad action movie, Hall of Fame quality, where it's on cable all the time. You can stream it on Amazon. People love this movie. I liked it just fine when it came out. I don't know if I had a wild enthusiasm. Did either of you really care about it?
I didn't particularly care for the first one that much. But this is just a B movie to me. Like, it's really funny that this was something Affleck was like, I need to take artist equity and throw it behind the Accountant franchise.
And he did. His new company with Matt Damon co-produced this movie along with Amazon MGM, and it stars John Bernthal, yeah boy, Cynthia Dye Robinson, J.K. Simmons, Daniela Pineda. The plot is when an old acquaintance is murdered, leaving behind a cryptic message to, quote, find the accountant, Christian Wolff is compelled to solve the case. Realizing more extreme measures are necessary, Wolff recruits his estranged and highly lethal brother Brax to help. In partnership with the U.S. Treasury Deputy Director Mary Beth Medina, they uncover a deadly conspiracy, becoming targets of a ruthless network of killers who will stop at nothing to keep their secrets buried. That's a description of the plot.
Yeah.
Amanda and I saw this movie together. We had a very nice time. But we spent the 30 minutes after the movie was over trying to figure out what was going on in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is to say that despite having fun, I found this to be one of the most convoluted mainstream movies released in some time. Were you confused at all? Maybe not confused. That's not even the word, because I understood what happened. But trying to backtrack why the things had happened and how they got the plot to where it went, I found very odd.
I broadly understood what was going on. I think the things that I found the most confusing were the efforts to tie it to forensic accounting.
Well, there weren't very many efforts.
But there was still it was like Deputy Director Mary Beth Medina certainly mentions her mentor, played by J.K. Simmons, a lot, and also their work and the kind of work they do and the ethics of their investigations versus Brax and Chris's more devil may care style of investigation. So the accounting part was actually I was iffy on. I ultimately understood that this was a human trafficking fever dream that was about these guys rescuing these kids in Juarez, Mexico. But the nutty part about it is it's basically a buddy comedy for 80% of the movie that then turns into saving human trafficking victims.
Well, part of the problem is that it's a buddy comedy for 40%. Yeah. And then there is 20% sprinkled around the other 18 characters that constitute the human trafficking and underworld aspects of the plot. And it's hard to keep track of all of those other people. Mm-hmm. And then you don't get as much of Ben Affleck and John Bernthal sitting on top of a Airstream, broing out, which was charming.
Yeah. If you told me that I would really have a good time at a movie that was just Rain Man meets Commando, I would probably not believe you, but I honestly really enjoyed myself watching this.
I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah. I think the movie looks really good. It looks unusually good for a movie like this. You hear Amazon MGM and you're like, okay, this is going to be Red Notice streaming action movie. It's all, we'll get to a streaming action movie that doesn't look like all streaming action movies soon. But movie's shot by Seamus McGarvey, who's an incredibly talented DP, shot the last movie. So
they shot it in Los Angeles. They got the rebate, so they were able to shoot on location, and I think you can really feel it. Mm-hmm. I think it matters. Yeah,
it does. Yeah. I mean, this is Lynn Ramsey cinematographer. You know what I mean? He's a really, really good cinematographer. So I think it gets its head above water by just being Ben Affleck's in the middle of the movie. He's just a great movie star. Yeah. He's always entertaining. Bernthal pitched perfectly. This is exactly what he's good at, which is snide asshole with a gun who's also insecure. Mm-hmm. He is the master of that kind of character, and he's really, really funny as Brax.
And they give him several very good scenes, including
his intro is phenomenal.
In the hotel room with I mean, he longs to be a pet owner, and that's something that is carried throughout the film. And then also when he gets the call from his brother is a really, really delightful and funny scene.
Do we even see his? Oh yeah, we do. Because he's in Germany.
Yeah,
doing a job
after he's killed 7 people and he's eating ice cream.
Yeah, that's a nice reveal in that sequence. I found the framing of the Daniela Pineda story just bizarre.
Oh, the woman, the migrant woman who then has a car accident and becomes a savant and a champion killer.
Yes.
Yeah. But then also, and you're supposed to understand all this. This hinges on an old photograph.
Yeah.
that as Sean spent like great lengths like yelling in the middle of the Americana at like on a Wednesday night on tax day, by the way, we went to a tax day screening. And Sean is just like, but it just doesn't look like her.
But she has the black dolphin tattoo.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. I think you know what? Maybe I'm a moron. I think for a conventional audience to be like, that's the same person is a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Daniela Pineda is incredibly striking. And that does not look like her in the photograph. It may be her in makeup. It may be her, maybe digitally altered. I'm sure all of that is true. But the efforts to be like, that woman is that woman. And also, because of her car accident and like whatever it was done to her frontal lobe, she is now Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe.
And a chess master.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
And a chess master. Yeah. That was like
and all
borderline supernatural in a commando movie, which I found very strange.
Yeah.
I just remembered all the kids in the special
Harbor, what's it called? What's the neurodivergent hacker army?
I forgot about that part.
Because the only reason I thought about it,
nuts.
No, I know, was because that like the whole sequence in which like what happens to Danielle Pineda's character is explained to you is from like the neurosurgeon who accepts like some sort of grant from this like from the the world-renowned Harbor Neuroscience, whatever, which is located in Hanover, New Hampshire, which is also where Dartmouth College is. I was just like, hey! Was not filmed in
Did you not attend that?
Yeah, I did. You know what?
Center?
That's not where. And so, but anyway, Christian Wolf, Ben Affleck's character, the accountant, is now running his rogue accounting and also all of his ops with the help of a group of children who are studying at the neuroscience school. And they're like the world's greatest hackers. You, Sean, went to the bathroom during the hacking scene. And I just like the whole time.
I was watching on this side. I didn't come back from my seat. Yeah, I was standing there. I saw
because
it.
I was like, I can't believe he's in the bathroom as these children are hacking into this lady's camera in order to...
And like ringing her doorbell so that she goes away from the email. I thought that was a great moment.
Yeah. I mean, that was insane and funny.
It's a very pulpy, silly kind of a story, and it can withstand this level of absurdity in the plotting, but I was like, this is a lot to ask for the sequel to a movie that came out 9 years ago that most people watch on TNT.
A friend of mine had a very funny observation that had not occurred to me while watching Accountant 2, which is that this is the original Good Will Hunting script.
Oh, yeah.
Where Will Hunting gets drafted by the NSA and CIA to become like a super spy.
Yeah.
And this is the script that William Goldman was like, you guys should lose all this shit and just make it like a human drama. But it's like Affleck was probably like, that's a good fucking movie.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That's a great shout
out to my friend. I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah.
Speaking of, did you know Ben was in the Criterion Closet this morning?
No, this very morning.
Posted this morning.
Oh, wow.
He spoke beautifully about many films.
Oh, among them?
Rules of the Game by Renoir.
Beautiful.
Malcolm X by Spike Lee. He spoke at length about his commentary work on the Armageddon DVD.
Yeah, no, I know. He's really out there.
Yeah, he's the best.
Selling that.
Is the best.
You don't need to tell me that.
He is a hardcore cinephile, and we respect it. I would like soft recommend this movie. It's fun. It's stupid.
It was really stupid, but we had a good time.
It's to use a Bill Simmons, or actually Bill Simmons' dad thing, it's a classic 5 o'clocker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a great, like, want to go see Accountant 2 and then grab a burger?
It's a really good... I've been thinking a lot about like kind of how to elevate the experience of being in movie theaters, in part I think because I'm in movie theaters so often. Mm-hmm. And I have a complicated relationship to alcohol these days. Sometimes I'm really in on it, sometimes I'm really out on it. But this is a great beer movie. Like this is a movie to enjoy with a
Unless
beer.
It makes you have to pee and then you can't see the neurodivergent army really of hackers.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just get a pee bag attached to me at all times.
Can I ask 2 more things? One, did you guys notice that Bernthal actually goes, God damn, at one point? Sorry. I saw you drinking and I was like, shit. He actually says it. He says the thing.
That was even a soft goddamn too. You didn't go full register there.
And also, why does the guy who works out of like the Reseda human trafficking hub or wherever that dude Burke is, right? The bad guy.
Yeah.
The bald bad guy who gets killed.
The fish guy.
Yeah, we forgot about that
We
part.
totally forgot about the fish guy.
Why is he a sashimi dealer and also only has one... Like
he's like, what is that? His son, or he has?
But
like
he's
one
like,
henchman?
yeah, you solo go to Juarez.
Yeah,
and it's
but
like
he runs a human trafficking organization from Boston. Where is he?
No, he's
Or is he in
I think he's
California?
in like San Pedro or something. Yeah.
This is a really weird movie. Okay, well, this is the first of two films we'll discuss that features human trafficking heavily
Right.
and its
Great.
plotting, but we'll get there in a minute. Let's
Great.
talk about Havoc next. Did you get to Havoc?
I did.
Shout out to you. You
Yeah.
had a weekend out of
I
town
did.
with your family.
I did.
And you sat down to experience the cinema of Gareth Evans.
I did.
Gareth Evans, of course, the director of the Raid films. I think he's the creator, certainly one of the filmmakers behind Gangs of London, a show that Chris loves, and one of the foremost action filmmakers of the 21st century. This movie has been in the works for a very long time.
I think I have drafted it as an anticipation auction 3 times.
At least twice, as far back as 2022, maybe even 2021. This is Tom Hardy's collaboration with Gareth Evans after Gangs of London. It's a straight up crime movie. It's a cops and villains movie. It's a political corruption movie. And it's ultimately just an excuse for Gareth Evans to go ham like 3 or 4 times in the movie. I feel like we have to start with Chris to get his take.
Yeah, of course.
Because this is an important film for him.
Yeah. Well, this starts out 45 minutes of which is essentially like ChatGPT writing a Gangs of London episode. And it basically takes place in Sin City. Like there's no
Is it
sense
not
of,
Chicago? I
think it
I was
is.
reading it as Chicago.
I mean, Working Man is Chicago. And
yeah.
um
Shot there?
I-
No.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Probably shot in Romania or something. I don't really have a lot to say about the opening half of this film other than if I die because someone throws a washing machine full of cocaine through my body, you guys can laugh about it. I think that would be an extraordinary way to go out, and that's the opening sequence of this film.
That sequence is a perfect metaphor for what it's like to watch a Gareth Evans action sequence.
Yes.
It feels like you're inside of a washing machine full of cocaine. That's a great idea.
Yeah. It's pretty boring until you get to the nightclub about an hour in and Gesaffelstein starts playing and I left my body and joined my ancestors and we looked down on myself and we said, no one's ever had it better than this kid right now. I had my fucking big headphones on in the dark in my house and I watched the nightclub scene literally 3 times back to back. I just
is
kept
like a
rewinding
full-length
it.
movie, by the way, because that scene
It's very long.
is very extended. They don't leave anything out.
There's all kinds of like butchered knives going on
Machetes,
there.
yeah.
Machetes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That scene is crack. It is so good. It is so entertaining. I thought this movie was like legitimately subpar, except for 28 minutes.
Yeah.
28 minutes of it, I was like ecstatic. So thrilled. And I think that's justification for its existence. The nightclub scene is the best one. What a summer for Gesaffelstein.
Yeah.
The electronic music artist whose music was also featured in that A24 Thunderbolts trailer.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now here, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 songs during the duration of that nightclub sequence in this movie.
Bad DJ. He's just playing the Gesaffelstein mix.
Yeah, but
Maybe he's distracted.
He might be
Good
distracted.
point.
Like it might just, the track listing might just keep
Holy
going.
shit, did that guy just get hit with a machete?
I'm sure that he's actually like at
Yeah.
one point.
That's one of the ideas I like in the sequence is that for the most part, the people on the floor of the club have no idea
Until
that
that
this
guy
all-out
gets
brawl is
thrown
happening.
off the balcony and breaks in half.
Amanda, any thoughts about this movie that have not been shared by
No,
Chris?
I'm even watching this scene. I was like, okay, so this is a Chris Ryan movie, which I knew. Tom Hardy action film on Netflix. I was like, okay, I'm watching this with my Chris goggles on, and then that was confirmed, and I was happy for you.
A couple other highlights I thought
Yeah.
you might enjoy.
Yeah.
Forrest Whitaker just doing Eric Adams.
I was like, is that what that was?
I think so.
Pretty
but
much.
Sure.
Yeah.
Does Eric Adams have a flunky, losery son?
I'm pretty sure he does allegedly. And then also I felt like his whole delivery was very Eric Adams coded.
Yeah.
What do you think of Oliphant?
Well, I understood what would be his character's arc would be within the first 2 minutes of the film.
He's
with his
giving it away
appearance.
pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not very subtle anything that's going on in the first 30 minutes, as you guys mentioned. I'm always happy to see him. I continue to think he's incredibly handsome.
Yes. Okay.
So
I thought maybe
Is he in his 50s?
I was wondering how many of those stunts he did. Like Hardy is
He
getting
didn't-
his ass kicked.
Hardy's in it. No, I will say in the nightclub scene, like
He's 56 years old, Oliphant.
Yeah.
with it what an achievement, you know,
Yeah.
of people just jamming stuff into each other to in a club for like 30 minutes. But I did notice, I was watching everything, but you know, at some point, like the limbs going places, kind of your eyes starts to glaze over, and then like his head just does peek around a corner in a way that's like, oh, you weren't there before. So, but that's okay.
Yeah. The other big set piece in this movie is a fight in a house that resembles a little bit of a Gangs of London famous set piece where basically, first of all, I gotta say, I don't think I've ever seen a bad movie with triads involved.
I had a note about this as well.
And the two triad ladies in this movie are some bad chicks. I was pretty into them.
Yeah.
Mother,
they both get knocked out in pretty brutal fashion. Mother is, did you feel attracted to her?
No, but I was definitely like emotionally engaged with her on a deep level.
What was the other gal's name?
Well, that was played by a UFC fighter, Michelle Watterson Gomez.
Okay.
And she and Tom Hardy have a fight that is so intense the entire house falls down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, spoiler, he shoots her with a fucking whaling harpoon.
It's just a great idea. He's like,
why does he have a fucking harpoon? I know he's fishing.
I guess they're like in a shack where you go fishing.
But who has a harpoon on like lake fishing?
That was a fairly small harpoon. I laughed really hard at that scene. The harpoon, did it go through her neck or through her head? Or
and then
through
she
her neck?
tries to like walk down it a little bit.
Like sliding down. We need more things like this in the movies. We need people to get harpooned on camera. This is great stuff.
And then they just wild bunch it up at the end. It's great.
Yeah, crazy big shootout. This is a pretty fun movie. It's a time killer. I was wondering two things about this. One, I think we do have to have a Tom Hardy conversation. 10 years ago, I thought not only one of the most exciting actors in Hollywood, many people thought he could be a future James Bond, but I thought he had a lot of variance in the kinds of voices and characters he was playing. And now he only plays one guy, which is anonymous Metropolis American angry dude. Like in Venom,
I know your answer is going to be, have you watched Mobland at all?
I have not.
My in-laws were really big on Mobland this weekend.
A very enjoyable series, for one thing. Real, like, just like B kind of like crime show.
Mm-hmm.
He's delightful, and it's the closest he's been to Inception Tom Hardy.
Eames.
A little, you know,
he was charming, you're saying.
He's charming, and you know, he's just trying to like keep all the warring factions from like annihilating each other. It's essentially like a very cartoonish Michael Clayton in the British underworld, and he's getting to play a guy in London. You know,
I think he should retire this era. The like hyper grizzled, muttering, barely enunciating, trying to be a cop from Nowhere Town, USA. I think we got it.
Okay,
he's done it. I'm ready for his 50s.
Chris will let him know.
Please call him. Send a
I think
stork to
I think
Taboo
he's done
Island.
with it too. First of all, this was filmed like in 2020 or whenever they started filming this movie. He's talked about how he's like, I want to like kind of get back down to planet Earth a little bit.
Yeah. Number 1 on Netflix though.
Yeah.
Seems like this movie is working.
That's only just from my plays. So
this is the kind of thing that really works on Netflix. Like this is a defining genre of Netflix when you think about Carry On, Extraction, Triple Frontier, Rebel Ridge, The Old Guard. Like the grim, dark action movie is sort of their brand alongside teen coming-of-age movies and Hallmarkish rom-com / holiday movies, right? Like those are the movies that they're best known for at this point. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
Well, awards plays that don't pay off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is.
But this is, I think, of all the categories you named, this is the one we're most at peace with.
Yeah.
Like if Netflix wants to keep making these types of movies with these budgets and these level of movie stars, like they have a competency at them. They don't make us angry, and they bring Chris a large amount of joy.
Yes.
So like this is okay. If this is what they want to do, okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well said. Any closing thoughts on Havoc?
I just am curious why it took so long. Like what was the thing that they had to reshoot in here? Like
I would imagine that the transition from the old film team leadership to the new one was a factor.
Okay.
But
got some notes.
Could have been, but it seems like it's working for them. Gareth Evans, can we get him a better script?
He wrote this, so obviously he trusts himself as a writer. I've never like I could do this. I never like think to myself, like, oh, just let me get a pass on this.
Except when he fired that harpoon gun through the triad woman's neck.
I just mean like I don't have the hubris to think that I could do what he does at all, even as a writer. But I would love to have just taken like a quick run past some of the dialogue.
Yeah.
Editor Chris, get your notes on.
Yeah, just have like this guy say this, or just get like a average crime novel to adapt, and just take that and then you do the action sequences.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to limit him.
I wrote in the notes that David Koepp is writing the new Jurassic Park movie, which I think is a reason to be excited for the new Jurassic Park movie. And let's just get
Jurassic World Rebirth. Is that what you're talking about?
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yeah.
New film coming July 2nd from Universal. Thank you. I think it'd be great if he got someone like a David Koepp, just like a locked and loaded genre for hire movie maker, so that then he could do his Gareth Evans shit around a movie like that.
Would you have watched Gareth Evans' Black Bag? Same script, same actors. But the nightclub scene.
So like in the dinner scene just becomes like everyone smashing each other. But yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about A Working Man.
Okay.
Did you watch this one?
Yeah, I've watched every movie on the document.
This is a lot of men at work.
I did actually watch this one while doing prep for last week's Big Picture episode.
So you lost some of the nuance, might be.
Yeah, you're right.
By you.
So I'm excited to have Chris Ryan, our political correspondent, here to explain it to me.
I had high hopes for this one. This is the new film from David Ayer, a director that Chris and I have a lot of time for. He was most recently seen utilizing Jason Statham's unique talents in The Beekeeper, another surprise success from 2024 that we all liked, that is a batshit crazy movie about the deep state, paranoia, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden's kids, Donald Trump, and bees. I was hoping that it would have some of this same manic energy. This is more of a classical Jason Statham kind of a movie. It's based on a novel called Levin's Trade by Chuck Dixon. The screenplay is co-written by Ayer and Sylvester Stallone, which I think tells us maybe a little bit about the energy of the film. That is also about human traffickers. It's about a foreman on a construction site whose boss's daughter is abducted by human traffickers.
The Russian mob. Or a faction of the Russian mob.
And he's a former British special ops soldier who has moved to Chicago.
As they do.
And to work on construction
and
sites.
be with his family, presumably.
Yes, and we spend a lot of time with them. We really learn about them.
But
in this film.
everyone else is his family, And they
Yes.
keep bringing him food
Michael Pena,
and stuff.
for example.
Sure.
I mean, the best films are about found families.
Let me ask you this: if Bill's kids were abducted, would you go on a one-man spree to save them? Because that's the plot of this movie.
Yeah. Yes,
that is truly the plot of this movie. I just want to point it out. It's kind of weird. It's like, could Jason Statham just let the FBI do their jobs?
I was just like imagining Chris just like out in that room getting the call and being like, okay, what am I going to do? We should make this movie.
And imagine what the human traffickers would think when you rolled up, layered out, dripped out, and you were just like, you've never heard of me. You'll never see me again.
I'm 5'7".
What is your first move when you get that call?
Have my lawyers and agents look at the deal and see like if we got any notes. Have my team interrogate it a little bit. Find out whether I have IP rights to it. No, I think this is a goofball movie, man. I mean, there's part of it that is like played incredibly straight and soberly and is about like this guy who's grieving the suicide of his wife and is trying to reconnect with his kid and clearly sees this girl Jenny as like a surrogate and is doing all this stuff. And then there's also like a little bit of like Mad Max Fury Road going on underneath of it where there's sub gangs of the Russian mob who all dress like they're in Road Warrior and sell meth in Juliet. And then they all show up at a house and fight.
Yeah, who are those guys? What's that? Is that a real scene? Is that a scene that we can be a part of?
Speaking of ladies in these action movies that caught my eye, Artemis, the one with the face tat. What's up with her?
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got really jazzed up this weekend.
Yeah, you're discovering
My wife's out of town.
Did you watch all 4 of these movies this weekend?
More or less, yeah.
Did you see The Amateur
I'd seen The Amateur a while ago.
Okay, yeah.
Any thoughts? Like, what did you think of this? You were half paying attention.
I was half paying attention. And once I realized, like, okay, this is not The Beekeeper, there is not anything like bizarre and entertaining about what it's trying to sandwich in terms of the beekeeper's strange political valence, or just like Jeremy Irons or like Minnie Driver calling for one scene, scene and being like, I need my paycheck. This is a basic good guy revenge type movie. I was back in my document.
Yeah, it's a classic Statham vehicle. I mean, he's made a lot of movies like this over the last 15 years. He's one of the most reliable movie stars, and he is really the working man's Tom Cruise. I mean, he doesn't really make streaming movies.
No.
He makes movies for movie theaters for a very specific audience. He basically makes one a year. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are so strange that they're really compelling. He obviously also has a part in big franchises like the Fast movies. Right.
Can we give the Minnie Driver and Beekeeper award to David Harbour in A Working Man, playing a blind ex-SEAL?
So that was a real, I knew he was in this,
Yeah.
but I had phased out. And then I looked up and it was like a profile shot with like a giant beard. And it took me a while to be like, wait a second, that's David Harbour.
We have a date with David Harbour tonight.
We sure do.
We sure do. Also, have you guys been following David Harbour's press tour?
No. How's it going?
Well, I don't know if you have kept up with his personal life.
He
was with Lily Allen, but they split up. I know that.
And now he may or may not be dating someone younger than Lily Allen, and then he's being asked about it. And
how's he taking that?
How young are we talking here?
Younger.
Okay. But if you told me Lily Allen was 37, I wouldn't be stunned.
Yeah. But I meant more like 20s.
So she's like 34.
20, right, okay. I was trying to be
Lily
respectful.
Allen's not
He's dating a 19-year-old.
No.
He's dating, he and Bill Belichick are sharing a girlfriend.
And Lily Allen, who has a podcast, is not excited about it.
She's speaking on it publicly?
She's taking like little subs at him.
I can't believe you're not
up on this.
Yeah, this is a thing.
Yeah. I love Lily Allen.
Exactly
Me too.
in the zone of like social media that I don't have access to.
Okay.
I don't pursue it, and so it doesn't come
Lily
to me.
Allen also apologized to Katy Perry for being mean to her about Blue Origin.
I'm going the other way on that one. Shame them.
Agree.
Okay. Well,
wait, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about.
David Harbour.
There's a couple of things. I mean, one, this is post Sound of Freedom Corps. That's the thing about the human trafficking
right.
thing, is that movie was a huge sensation. We thought, what would be the ripple effect of this? We talked about Angel Studios. Could you have a different kind of storytelling? The truth is it was always there. Lionsgate was always making movies like this, and this is a movie that is pitched at a very specific audience. It just doesn't have that harebrained craziness that Beekeeper has that kind of propulsively kept you interested in where the story was going because it was so strange. It's just very straightforward. He's going to kill these guys, and then he's going to win.
This movie was dying for a twist, which would essentially be like, spoilers for Man on Fire, essentially be the Mark Anthony twist of Man on Fire. Like, it's really dying for like another step, and you get like midway through and you're like, oh, okay, it's just like he's going to single-handedly disassemble the Russian mob.
Yes.
Okay.
And that would be the thing, I think, also that would get people to say, you got to see is A Working Man. That movie's crazy. But it doesn't really have that. Like, it's solid. It's doing what it wants to do, but it's not great.
What's up with these guys, though? Human trafficking. I mean, like, I guess, it goes all the way back to like the Searchers or whatever. It's like a child kidnapped is like always.
It goes back to the slave trade, Chris. Sure. So, ancient Rome.
No, I know. I understand like the origins of that. I meant in cinema.
As soon as you put this in there, I was like, oh, great. Here comes the jam up.
I would say this idea as a central preoccupation of a certain kind of man who's trying to present his idea of like his vision of family and patriotism is just really weird. It's like you can be, when you're so obsessed with something, it's suspicious to me.
Yes.
And the fact that it has infected mainstream action movies.
It's a big plot line on Lioness in the second season.
Right. It's suspect.
Yeah.
As Chucky once said.
Of course.
You said it just like him, and I was like, "Oh my god, is he gonna?" This
is an Affleck-coded pod today.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on A Working Man?
Pretty boring.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty boring too. The Amateur. This is a movie that I triggered a feeling that I shared on the pod. It's not a bad movie. Directed by James Hawes. It's based on a novel written some 35 years ago. You've read it.
My boy, Robert Littell. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Really good espionage writer. Wrote a book called The Company, which is kind of like an epic of the CIA that was adapted into a TNT miniseries with Alfred Molina and Chris O'Donnell. My bad. And then has written a bunch of like slimmer novels that are actually really cool and have like some Paul Auster, Don DeLillo stuff going on, including, I think, Amateur which I do have but don't remember reading, but is much different than what the film winds up being.
Oh, interesting. That's good to know. So, in brief, the plot is Rami Malek plays a brilliant but introverted CIA operative, like a tech ops guy who works out of a basement office. His wife goes to London for a work trip. She's played by Rachel Brosnahan, and she is killed in a terrorist act in London. And he is completely destroyed by this and goes on a quest to find the actual terrorists who killed him against the wishes of the CIA and, frankly, everybody else involved in this story, and kind of goes on a strategic killing spree throughout Europe. This has one of the best casts of the year. Features not just Malek and Brosnahan, but Katrina Balfe, Michael Stuhlbarg, Holt McCallany, Julianne Nicholson, and Lawrence fucking Fishburne. And it's one of those movies that's like 68% there. And the final 32% is the most important percent. So it's not bad, but it's not good. And the reason it triggered the feeling for me was I was like, God, how do we get to the final 32%?
Oh,
I'm
was this
looking
the,
for
like,
the final
why am I
32%.
seeing this on a Monday night?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Instead of doing bedtime.
So what did you think? We haven't talked about
Well,
it yet.
instead of seeing it on a Monday night, I saw it on a Friday at noon.
Which is probably optimal.
It's absolutely
That's the best way to see
optimal.
it. Yeah.
And this is also in the Amanda wheelhouse, right? Like tinges of international espionage, famous actors. And so I would maybe give it like 72%. I would watch one of these every month if they would make them. I had a perfectly nice time. There is something missing. Shall we name it?
We have to say it.
It's an actor at the center of the movie. This movie stars Rami Malek. I'm sorry. That does not connect for me.
I think Rami Malek can be an effective actor. I think he's
an effective hacker.
Hacker. Yeah. And it does feel like he was cast out of his role in Mr. Robot, which is where he became famous, a role he was born to play. This movie needs like a more handsome and dynamic person at the center of it. Like it needs like a lead to be the lead. And Rami Malek is like kind of a number 2 for a movie like this. He's the guy who helps. The movie is obviously very purposefully trying to subvert your expectations there. Like, oh, this meek little guy would come along and blow up this pool and kill these Russian bad guys. I totally get the idea of the movie. But in my head, I was like, if you just put Andrew Garfield in this role and put him in some glasses, it's probably just a better movie. And I felt that the whole time I was watching it. I was like, I'm not really with Malek at all. I know he's mad that his wife was killed. It's completely understandable. Anybody would be completely destroyed by this, but I just couldn't get emotionally invested in the story.
I thought while I was watching this that it was a really good concept for the movie would be like, what if Q was James Bond? And then I got really distracted being like,
what if Ben Whishaw
was just, but he got to be Q, but he was like.
Ben Wishaw's even better than Andrew Garfield. If it was Ben Whishaw, that would have been great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of like it's what Ben Affleck is doing in The Accountant and Accountant 2, but weirder. But you do need someone who is
his foil.
Who is the type and then is like playing against type, but then can become the type in the center of the film. You need a movie star. We are probably, do you think at the very end of or still in the throes of Wick adaptation variations like Nobody, Love Hurts, like these, like you thought he was just a normal guy, but he's actually a killer, I guess Wick's not like that, but like that style of fighting applied to almost everything. Yeah, I think this is pulling from a different aspect of the Wick storytelling. Like this is a very grim, straightforward, serious spy movie that happens to have these remarkable set piece kills. Like it actually is, to your point, like a little closer to Bond, where it's like episodic and you're kind of waiting for him to get to the next kill, the next set piece. It doesn't have any of that attempt at action humor that Love Hurts or Nobody or all of these movies where you're trying to be like, it does have, I guess, the surprise of what if Kiwi Kwan or Bob Odenkirk punched a guy in the neck. Right. But this has none of the levity of those movies. It has none of the mythology or none of the like grandeur of the Wick movies. The Accountant, which I dubbed John Bick in the document here. I hope all of you caught that. That's some of my best headline work that I no longer get to use publicly. Wow. I was great once at that very specific thing. The Accountant, I think, kind of is like self-knowing. It might not be. Yeah. It's like self-aware. And this movie is not that self-aware. No. It's played much more seriously. So, again, like,
this is not a bad film. It's actually very well made by Hawes. I think a couple of the set pieces are very exciting. They were all given away in the trailer, which is becoming a recurring discussion point here. But the pool sequence is really cool, and the design of that is a great idea, and it looks good in the execution. But we saw it, I think, because the studio was nervous that people wouldn't go see it if they didn't have a big set piece like that. So I think
would you go in a pool like that even before having seen this movie?
Yeah, I'm pretty open to lots of different pool experiences.
Even like
I don't
floating
really like
up
indoor
30
pools, but other than that,
30 feet. I don't know. That would
be a
freak me
tough way to
out.
go.
Yeah.
You wouldn't swim in that pool.
No, it's the height kind of counteracts the joy of being in a pool, which I do love.
What do you think about infinity pools?
On ground? You know, like.
What do you mean on ground?
As opposed to suspended between two large towers?
Yeah. Sure. Well, not naturally occurring.
That's actually
pools.
what Two Towers is about. It's just Frodo wants to go swimming in a pool.
Let's go see it. No, I have seen it, I think. Is that the first one?
Nope.
No.
Second one?
Yes.
I've seen the second one and the third one.
Second
but
one's
not
with
the first one.
the trees.
I can't really
You
remember.
went to go see the second one having not seen the first one?
And the third one. I saw them back to back because in college they did like a thing.
Were you blackout drunk by the end of the third one?
Because you weren't allowed to have booze in these. They were serious film screenings. I don't know why I went, but I did. I saw both of them.
Okay.
Did you have a companion with you or no?
Yes, but I can't remember who it was. It wasn't a boy.
It wasn't Elijah Wood.
It wasn't okay. Never mind.
It wasn't like it wasn't a date. I wasn't like there. Yeah, on the behest of you know.
You've seen Fellowship of the Ring?
I have.
Yeah.
I guess I've
Good
seen
film.
that
It's a
one,
good one.
right?
Yeah. Excellent movie.
The Hobbits.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
They set off, right?
Yeah, they set off on a quest
Right.
to throw
To
the
get the
ring
ring.
It's
into
a mysterious
to get
guy
rid
named
of-
Strider.
Okay.
Aragorn?
Yeah, they called himself Strider in the beginning
Why?
What's the
because he's trying to obscure his royal lineage.
O.J. Simpson, a football player? Aragorn, the Lost King. Okay.
Infinity pools. I'm open.
What about you, Infinity Pool?
I'm always kind of curious about Airbnbs that market a pool close to a natural body of water
Yeah.
as a selling point. To me, it seems a little bit redundant. I know the pools are a cleaner experience usually, but like I don't want to go in a pool next to the ocean.
I agree with you. Gonna throw a couple of things though for you. You and I have been there on the surf reports, you know, and if it's a choppy day, you can't get in there's nothing worse than being at the beach and not being able to get in the water. So, and then also smaller kids, sometimes the
waves
you
are too
can't really
much.
take a baby in the ocean, but in the way that you can take a small kid in a pool.
The author,
I
William
support you.
Finnegan, the author, was
Sure.
raised by waves.
I know, on
And look
Will
what he did for
Rogers.
us.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful book. What do these 4 movies tell us about where action stands right now?
I was wondering if there was going to be any conclusion to this podcast.
I'm curious for your
Infinity
points of
pools.
view. You know, action is not a genre that you shy away from. You see all the action movies with us, so it's
I
not.
do.
You know, it's not like horror where you're like, I don't know. You watch all these movies. Is there something good happening? Bad happening?
most
Is it
of
just
these-
April?
I think it's a little bit April. These were all, with the exception of The Amateur. The first 3 were gnarlier and more gun focused than I tend to like, which is that's just a preference thing. That's obviously like a huge part of the genre and a huge part of even action movies I really like the John Wick movies. But they're all so that stood out. But they're all like pretty grody and pretty. Let's just like shove things in people's faces. There is a lot of choreography involved in all of this, but I wouldn't call them like balletic. You know?
No.
That's okay. There are lots of different ways to kill a guy.
Yeah, there's a little bit in Havoc. You can
I think
see
Havoc
the high
has
level of
that like
choreography. Yeah.
crazy Busby Berkeley energy that I think Gareth Evans actually would like to make a musical, and it's just like I can't, so I just have these people fly through each other. I don't know. I mean, I think that The Accountant 2's success is like honestly quite charming because it is an original story, and it really, really just reminds me of like 80s action movies in a big time way, even down to like abrupt tonal shifts, like they kill 80 dudes and then John Bernthal adopts a cat. It's like, it's really the entire spectrum of the human experience happens.
It has literally one thing that I neglected to mention, very similar to those Schwarzenegger and Stallone action films in the 80s, where there are 100 men facing 2 men, and all 100 men have guns, and for whatever reason, they will not pick up their guns and shoot the 2 guys who are attempting to take them out.
When Bernthal's like, time for hand-to-hand combat, they're all like, yes, an honest fight.
It's great that we still have that at the movies.
Doesn't Berthal also get shot like 9 times in his
directly in the
vest?
chest? Yeah, not ideal.
I don't know if I can draw any massive conclusions from these 4 films together. I think obviously we talked about some of the political undercurrents of 3 of them. And I think even Amateur has some like, suppressed masculine urges and like, like not being part of the physical world, kind of stuff that I think is an affliction.
I think that's a probing insight. I think there's definitely something to that.
It also has the basic, like, there are parts of the CIA that are,
working against our better interests.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it has.
Men would rather avenge their dead wife rather than go to therapy.
No, I meant Holt McElhaney would rather copy and paste suicide bomber on a drone attack than like face consequences.
That's true.
So there you go.
Yeah, there's an incisive.
But Julianne Nicholson, who's the head of the CIA, because in this world women can have it all, knows what's up.
That's right.
So she's got her own guy to go check in on the situation.
Him mansplaining how Black Ops work in the diner scene. That's a great moment.
Do you know what I will say that I noticed about all 4 of these movies is not really about Havoc, but the other 3 is how annoying smartphones have become with the storytelling of a lot of this stuff, where they're just like, download the security footage to my phone and let me stream it now. And you're just like, this is stupid. This is like 20 minutes of the movie should be you getting the footage or figuring out who this is. And instead, like, these kids can hack into any computer in the world, and then like, now you're all good. You know who it is. This should be a big mystery.
It takes them a little while. That was one of the more riveting sequences,
I'd like to know if they're actually like, what are they actually doing? Because they're doing a lot of like.
I prefer Cronenberg's vision of what we can do with smartphones, which is we can have a 24-hour surveillance camera on our dead spouse's decomposing corpse and look at it anytime we miss them. That's just he is the only one who truly understands technology in this world. I'm not sure if I have some big takeaway. I mean, we're now entering a time of the year where the action movies are really big. We're about to see Thunderbolts. We're about to see Mission Impossible. We're about to see F1 is a kind of action movie.
Jurassic's kind of action movie.
Jurassic is an action movie for sure. These are like tentpole films. These 4 films are trying to come by their audiences in a slightly different way. They're, if not original stories, they're more or less original based on novels. They're star-oriented. You need to be like, I like action movies to go see this movie, not I like franchises or I like this character. And
it's all a little. It's all a little dad action to your earlier point.
It is. You're waiting for Ballerina.
I mean, I'll see it.
You want a lady in the center of the story. You think it's women's time.
I do. Yeah,
I like dancers and assassins.
I like it when they can dance and fight.
Yeah.
Do you think my daughter would like Ballerina?
No, I don't. But I think she's going to try to see it many times.
What if I tell her, sweetheart, I'm going to see Ballerina tonight?
Can she read yet?
Can she read yet? She's 3.5.
I don't know. She's very smart, way smarter than my sons. And she also, that's fine. That's just developmentally how it works.
She knows the alphabet.
And I would think that she
Don't you think Knox intuitively understands all the makes and models of the American Air Force?
I mean, he does. Also, he's been putting in the work. He's been at the museum. He's been running the tape. I think that I wonder if she can recognize the word ballerina at this point.
That's a really good question.
Have you considered it?
If she sees the commercial, we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
She will get very invested in the action filmmaking styles of Chad Stahelski. I think we did watch a Godzilla movie yesterday. We watched King Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster, and it's Japanese subtitles.
Okay.
And she did say, what are the words on the screen? Which obviously you can't understand the Japanese characters.
Yeah.
So I explained it to her, and I would read them along sometimes, but not all the time, because there's a lot of strange human plot aspect of Godzilla movies. But that will lead to a conversation about languges and different ways.
Have you thought about giving her immersive Japanese lessons?
Would you like to be the one to give them?
No, but aren't their brains like sponges at this point?
Yeah.
Do you think I should take her out of school?
No, just it's much easier when you're younger to learn the language. I didn't have that.
So this is a part. So Camp Chris.
Uh-huh.
There's going to be soccer drills for 3 hours a day. Then
Catalonian soccer practice and then immersive conversational Japanese.
And then after dinner time, we'll be screening Havoc every night.
But first, they have to make a meal according to his Instagram reels.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what I eat in a day.
Yeah. You can get ready video with all of them every morning. That would be sweet. I don't know if I have any other conclusions. I do have a bit of news to share with you guys, which is that it was just announced that a Miami Vice remake directed by Joseph Kosinski is going into development right now.
Well,
now,
Chris?
This is big for you, Chris. What does this mean?
Or
How do you
is it?
feel?
We'll see.
Okay.
I doubt that Michael Mann has any involvement. Obviously, Don Johnson on the Mark Maron WTF suggested that Miami Vice was not so much Michael Mann's baby as much as it has been proclaimed.
Those were strong words he had.
Very strong words. And I would argue that the Miami Vice film answers all the questions I had about Michael Mann's relationship to the material. It's a superior product, an incredible movie.
What if I told you Dan Gilroy was writing the script?
I think it has the potential to be incredible. But
wow, this is a muted response from you.
I'm in a weird spot with it. Kosinski also, I'm glad to hear that Dan Gilroy is writing that script because I think Kosinski, not unlike Gareth Evans, needs a good screenwriter.
He does. What if the announcement said it was Christopher McQuarrie writing the script?
I think that would be great. I think that would be great. I mean, they're not, Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell are not reprising their roles, I take it.
That's not the impression I'm getting.
It's going to be a reboot.
What if it's Brad Pitt and Damson Idris from F1?
Let's see if F1, if they have the charisma.
Where's your head at with F1?
I think I'm pretty excited. I've definitely you guys have shown me enough footage. I will watch this film. I want to see it in IMAX, but
you're waiting. You're not getting any more content. I'm with you.
I think I'm sold.
I'm at the point now with Mission Impossible where they debuted some new poster or something, and I'm hiding my eyes. I instinctively just jumped from the computer because I was like, "Don't spoil anything for me until I actually get to see this film." I know.
Will you watch all the Mission Impossible films leading up to this to get the canon locked down?
I haven't decided yet. I already bought my tickets for the Thursday fan event. I bought 2 in case you'd like to join me.
Oh, wow.
I also, I don't want to disinclude you, but if you'd like to join us, please buy one after this. We got our invite for the press screening.
Yeah, RSVP'd.
Mission Impossible is a religion to me, especially Macquarie Cruz Mission Impossible. But there's something about not being overexposed going into the new one. I've seen these movies a lot. I've seen Dead Reckoning 3 times. I don't know that I even need to rewatch that one to go into this.
I also feel like the way that they're pitching the film is, I have a feeling, not going to be as important in the actual watching the film. They're pitching the movie as Ethan Hunt,
the
this
culmination.
is your life. And you're like, all right, Rabbit's Foot, this, that, Kremlin. I got it. It's up here.
But most people don't have the powerful mind that you have.
No, but they made those movies up as they went along. Mm-hmm. So now to look back and be these essential moments in the history of this honestly improvised action blockbuster series.
You prefer how the MCU does it, where it's just established storyline told over 10 years.
And you cannot deviate.
And do not miss anything. You have to see every episode of Secret Invasion. Otherwise, you're lost.
I'm really excited for hanging out with you post-credits on Thunderbolts tonight.
Oh, you're coming tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. I never know.
I've been told sit through the credits.
Okay.
Thunderbolts. Just a heads up.
Did you see Tom Cruise did go to see Sinners and then
sit through the
hopefully
credits.
posted sit through the credits? Tom, where were you?
If only you had waited, then you would have known. The truth was told, and Tom spake it. Yeah, I mean, of course he loved that movie performatively, as he does.
Whoa.
He loves the movie.
He's virtue signaling?
No, I just mean he performed that he liked it.
Okay.
To us in the public via the social media.
I'd like to see Tom Cruise get behind a real stinker.
Interesting.
Tom Cruise being I'm home watching Havoc on my phone.
It would be more interesting if it was Minecraft movie is my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah.
A movie.
Would that be interesting?
It would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. I need to see some glimmer of personality.
Yeah,
from
it would
Tom
be good if he
this
was
time around.
Thunderbolts kind of sucked.
I'm not sure if that's in play. So you're feeling good about the movies?
Yeah. But I'm always right there. Right even keel with film.
The rehearsal?
What about it?
You watched episode 2?
I have not watched episode 2 yet.
Jack was explaining it to me before.
I'm aware of the discourse around it.
Yeah.
Though, yeah.
I was not until Jack
I'm not
Sanders
going to
gave me a
spoil it for anybody
recap.
who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing I've seen since the last time Nathan Fielder was on TV. He's tapped into my cortex, and Eileen and I were laughing very, very hard at the final 10 minutes of the episode last night. That's a TV show.
Yeah.
Which is not technically what we do here, but Nathan Fielder at work on his debut feature film for A24.
Oh, wow.
Not sure if you guys knew that.
Are we just throwing around news headlines now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited about Hader coming back with the Jonestown show?
I mean, you and Andy pointed out that the studio synchronicity of it is really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still want the movie, though.
Me too.
I want the Bill Hader movie. And I trust, he's a great TV maker, as we know. And I assume this is a miniseries, not a feature.
I think it's a miniseries.
Which sounds cool. But where's Bill Hader's horror movie? Where's his incredibly violent action movie? Where's his thriller?
I mean, it could be this.
It could be all of those things.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where are you at on Jonestown? Good idea? Bad idea?
I said on the pod, I'm actually I know all of the highlights without actually knowing the story.
Oh, interesting. Why have you been keeping away from it?
It's just one of those things that in history or in life where you're like, right, the punch. But then you're like, oh, I actually don't know what was up with that guy.
You know,
the punch. Sorry, it even took me a minute. Yeah.
I really like The Sacrament, the Ty West
Love
movie,
it.
which is very loosely based on the Jonestown situation. I'm not saying that that's the whole story there. It's obviously not, but it's been kind of sort of done before. Was there a Jonestown TV movie? I believe there was. Somewhat famously, like an Emmy-winning Jonestown.
There's
film.
a Koresh one recently.
Yeah,
That was with Riggins, right?
Yeah.
with Ray
Taylor
Jones.
Kitsch.
Did you watch that?
I watched the first couple and then I got the gist and I moved on. What was the name of the show that you and Andy were talking about on the same episode?
Sandbaggers.
Sandbaggers, right. And then
Extraordinary.
so I'm excited to see it, but then the creator who was ex-military
Yeah.
and was basically a spy was disappeared over
Yeah.
Alaska.
Yeah.
I mean, that's conjecture. That's the movie I want to see.
Can I give you one last question on the action movies tip?
Yeah.
So relative to our TV versus movies stuff, I think if you look at TV right now, a lot of the things that are really working, Reacher, Lioness, and/or The Last of Us, have those shows kind of supplanted A Working Man, The Accountant 2. Because we talk about this with a lot of different kinds of things, like prestige TV. Did that come for Rain Man's ability to be both the biggest movie of the year and the Best Picture winner? We've had that conversation 900 times. But this is like a slightly different thing because it feeds this. Reacher feeds the same.
It does. I don't
Impulse.
think it ever reaches any of the ecstatic action heights that, say, Havoc does. But it does allow for a lot more. It's closer to The Accountant than it probably is Working Man,
Mhm.
where it's just it's got a lot of humor and it's got a lot of
But it doesn't have Ben Affleck or John Bernthal,
it doesn't.
How do you feel about Alan Richardson?
Large.
Do you think he's compelling?
He was pretty. I mean, he had to act opposite Brie Larson in it was on one of the
blew
Fast.
her off the screen in Fast X.
Well, I mean, he
There's
did.
There's
No,
no
it
doubt
was
about
just
it.
and they were in some weird room, and I was distracted by her eyebrows, and then he was very charismatic opposite her.
Legitimately.
But that's and I marveled at his physique.
It was
was good in the
Marlon
Guy Ritchie.
Brando and someone who's never acted before.
Yeah.
He was good in the Guy Ritchie movie.
He was. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That was a fun movie. Guy Ritchie, speaking of action, he's got a film coming soon called Fountain of Youth
He's got 3 films
great.
coming.
that's going
Okay.
directly to Apple TV Plus. My question, why?
Okay.
It stars John Krasinski. Is it Natalie Portman?
Yes.
John Krasinski and Natalie Portman in an adventure film directed by Guy Ritchie straight to Disney Plus. Apple TV Plus. Why?
Money.
What money? They
For
left
them.
money on the table.
They got their money up front. It's probably why it costs $300 million to make it.
But shouldn't Apple try to make some more money on it? Am I crazy?
They have enough money.
This is not Havoc, where it's 300 Chris's in a room crying and then nothing on the second weekend.
It's number one on
That'd be
Netflix.
season 3 of The Rehearsal.
Havoc is far and away out of the 4 movies we discussed. Havoc is by far the most widely seen.
And the best.
But
totally
but
fair.
I understand that Apple TV is
They
different.
have 300
than,
million subscribers.
Yeah.
Fountain of Youth is coming out in less than a month.
Okay.
Does anyone know what that is?
Well, everyone at this table now does.
I know a fair amount about it just because I'm very curious about it.
Because of Krasinski?
No, because Guy Ritchie is an object of fascination to me. And when he, like, I'm always interested in is like, when are you trying versus like, when are you directing via iPad from the set of a commercial you're also directing?
The Covenant was really good.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
Wrath of Man was good, but he was not on set for the direction of that film.
Where was he?
He was in England directing via iPad because of COVID.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I think he does.
I know that's a big Tim Simons talking point.
He shot the first 2 episodes of Mobland, Fountain of Youth, The Gray. What's the next one coming with Gyllenhaal?
In the Gray.
In the Gray. That's like later this year. And then he just signed up for another movie that he's directing.
Sorry, did you read the plot summary of this film? And I just wasn't listening
Isn't it
to you?
actually a quest for the Fountain
It's a
of
brother
Youth?
and sister searching
Yeah,
for
using historical clues. They embark on an epic quest filled with an adventure.
Yeah, it's like National Treasure.
If successful, the mythical fountain could grant them immortality. The siblings are John Krasinski and Natalie Portman.
Yeah, it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Did you say that out loud and I just like
No, I didn't
blacked
say
out?
it.
Okay,
I assumed that you
because
saw the trailer.
Who's
or
the bad
something.
guy?
I
Or
texted
who's
Chris
the-
about this like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, "Why the fuck is this movie going to streaming?"
I know.
So Stanley's future is someone called the Elder, who I'm
Yeah.
guessing probably
As the guy who sits
has
next to the
wisdom,
Fountain of
but
Youth
then
and
yeah.
says, "Choose wisely."
Is it the same character from the Electric State that he played?
Oh, I forgot about that. That was tough. Probably.
Did you see a picture of all the conclave guys smoking at the actual conclave?
The real
Did it start?
Cardinals.
The real cardinals. I think it was after the funeral, but there were a
Okay.
bunch of cardinals outside. Just
Yeah,
like,
it can't start till next week, right? So what are your plans? Let's go.
Good question.
Okay. We've already got one spin-off.
We texted a little bit about some of our clubhouse favorites.
Yeah.
There's one guy who pissed off Mike Pence, who I was scouting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You're trying to put your weight behind.
Well, I worked for Radsinger.
Yeah, and that worked out great for the world. Great choice on your part.
I wasn't
mean
saying
just
I liked him.
You mean for the betting markets?
Yeah.
Not for your passions as a
No.
avowed Catholic. You're not a Catholic.
No.
Okay. You have a pick?
I'm more interested in the machinations, much like in the film Conclave. Apparently, Francis was sort of expanding the court. He was appointing a lot of new cardinals, which I mean, that was in his right. So,
wow.
so
Yeah.
that
Packing
kind
the bench.
that changes the demographic.
And
you
there's
know?
one guy who's a favorite who I think is the Stanley Tucci. He's like the Secretary of State guy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And is he the favorite?
He was the first one on the list on timemagazine.com. No, CNN.
I'm trying to find the blog that I read. By the way, said this privately. Great blogging podcast.
Thank
that
you so
did.
much.
I don't know.
You
It's-
revealed Conclave So Real on that podcast,
Yeah.
which we have revealed on this pod 900
Yeah.
times because it's one of my favorite things that ever happened. When you were just like, look at what I just wrote like August 19th, 2007. I was like, my friend is mentally ill. I love him.
I don't know if it's going to work out for Chris. 10 years later, Chris, what do you think of Havoc?
10 years later, a leader in your field.
Yeah.
A god among men. I can't get over the Fountain of Youth thing.
I
Also, they're releasing it on the same day as Lilo and Stitch, which is going to make $1 billion, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. What the fuck? What?
Is it weird that Mission Impossible Final Reckoning is going to come in second its opening weekend?
It's very possible. It's very possible. Perhaps even likely. I think Lilo
Yeah.
and Stitch is tracking for over $100 million.
And that's a guy. What's that about?
It's about, yeah, keep
okay, I
talking.
was
Keep
gonna
going.
ask- No. Tell us what you know about Lilo and Stitch.
Stitch is a cat?
And what?
No,
then
this
what
isn't
happens?
a bit. Like I'm actually trying to like figure it out.
keep
Like
going.
because
Keep
I
going.
keep seeing commercials, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stitch is a cat.
But is
and-
he and then is Lilo his owner? No. It's about ownership.
It's about human trafficking.
James Casabiel plays.
No, Stitch is an alien who comes to
Oh,
Earth and,
But he's cute.
and enters a young girl's life, and they form a bond, and he becomes a part of the family, and he
He
gets up to a
traffics
lot
her.
of mischief. Ultimately, Jason Statham comes and he has to solve everything. It's a family story, really. It's a beautiful movie. It's a live action adaptation of a Disney animated
I mean,
Gen Z classic.
it's just kind of insane that Tom Cruise is going to be like, I came in second. You know?
Do you think that's going to happen?
Do you think he's going to do an Instagram post about going to see Lilo and Stitch?
Bob
think
Iger blowing Tom Cruise's head off at the box office makes me really sad. I got to be honest. That's not what I want.
I think he will acknowledge it, and he'll be like, have a great time out at the movies this weekend. You
no
know?
matter what you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't stay at home and watch Fountain of Youth on Apple TV Plus. That's what he'll tell you.
I mean, I guess we do know that the kid market trumps the grown-up market, so it probably will come in second. But I think it's going to do well. So
Me too.
But it's not Memorial Day weekend, right? Is that Memorial Day weekend?
Memorial Day is the last weekend.
Oh no,
May,
it is Memorial Day weekend.
isn't it?
It is.
Is
The
Lilo and
23rd.
Stitch is also
Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend. Okay. And last question for you, CR. Are you going to see Hurry Up Tomorrow, this film about the weekend?
Yeah, probably. I'll check it out. I mean, I like The Idol.
That's true.
You did like The Idol. I was with you for like 1.7 episodes. And then we were at a party and a friend of ours accosted us. Actually, we were at a party at your house. And he called us on the carpet and he was like, this is a shameful public act that you have participated in.
That was like
you must
where
stand down.
I was like Boromir in Fellowship of the Ring.
Right.
Just taking all the arrows.
I remember you were like, I'm committed now.
Yeah, I was
gotta
like,
see it through.
I'm in too deep.
It was the night before the finale, and you actually had to go home. You're like, I gotta go watch The Idol because
We've all been there. We've all been in, like, I'm in too deep to get out now. Just like Sonny Crockett, I was too committed to The Idol.
Yeah. I could have had a world-class French meal seated beside Ethan Hawke, but instead I went to go see Naiad. You know, that was what I did for the game. And you went home to watch The Idol. You left the party early to watch The Idol.
Yeah.
And you made content out of it. What have you done? What were your great sacrifices for the game? Watching Havoc in Palm Springs?
Please know that I watched Havoc at 8 a.m. this morning.
In Los Angeles, California.
I handed the children off. I was like, good luck, kiddos. I have to go back upstairs and watch Tom Hardy beat people into a pulp. I think every other decision I've made is good.
Okay. Chris, thank you. Thanks for your service today. I really appreciate you turning your time over to this show. Thanks to Jack Sanders for his work. Amanda, thank you. We'll be back in, 36 hours with a new 25 for 25 episode. No spoilers about what it will be. We will see you then.